BC Human Rights Commissioner says the province is facing what she calls a reckoning. A new report finds BC saw a 35% increase in hate crimes reported to police during the pandemic. Sarah Galashan is in Vancouver with more on this story. So, Sarah, break down the numbers for us.
Well, Hannah, this report, nearly 500 pages in length, looked at both the incidents that were reported to police and those that were not reported to police. So to that, in addition to taking in those police reports, the public inquiry, which began in 2021, also took in written submissions. They took in testimony, looked at surveys. There were interviews done. They defined hate incidents as hate-motivated actions or words meant to humiliate, dehumanize, and silence a person based on their characteristics, either perceived or real. And the report compiles a, quote, mountain of evidence as a result of all of this. But if you even just look at the official numbers coming from Statistics Canada, you see for British Columbia a 35% rise in hate-related crimes reported to police between 2019 to 2020. And if you break that down further, most notably, you see that the reported crimes targeting Asian populations were up 482%. And for Black populations, Black people within the province of BC, up 115%. The report also points to problems addressing this adequately within the judicial system, everything from the reporting process to police all the way through to the process within the courts. But here's the BC Human Rights Commissioner with one of the points she really wants to drive home.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, we lost our collective innocence in a sense. And we know now that along with a health crisis of this proportion, we will see social crises, such as the rise of hate and violence. We cannot be surprised by the rise of hate in future states of crisis. We must confront what we've experienced during this pandemic and take action now to prevent it from happening again.
If there is a silver lining to all of this, what we see in this report is that, well, there were problems cited within the legal system in addressing these issues and incidents of hate. What was found was that community groups, crisis groups, were able to help better in the early stages of the pandemic because of the emergency funding provided by the federal government. Hannah?
Oh, yeah, sorry. What have you been hearing from people who have experienced that kind of hate?
You know, among those who early on in 2020 was very publicly sharing what happened to her was Trixie Ling. She's of Taiwanese descent. She reported to police in May 2020 after a white man taunted her with anti-Asian slurs and then spit in her face. So CBC caught up with her today as this report was being made public to find out what she thought about it. And I want to play you what she said.
For me, you know, I saw the section around, they wrote about hate-based on race, and particularly the increase in anti-Asian hate. That was hard to read because of all the stories and knowing Asian seniors, women like myself and youth were particularly targeted, which is really true. So that was really hard to read, but it was really important that we're sharing that story and that the story is from that lived experience, which is really important.
Let me just finish by saying there are a number of recommendations made by this report. One being that a centralized system for reporting hate crimes be developed, and as well for social media, that there be algorithms put in place to try and push down very discriminatory content as it appears on social media. Hannah?
Okay, Sarah, thank you for the latest.
You bet.